Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here. Tuesday, December 30th, getting ready to wind down this year, but football season, at least for Jags fans, it's still in full swing. Jaguars looking to obviously take down the Titans this upcoming weekend in Jacksonville. As I've been telling y'all all week, I highly encourage, if you have the ability to be there, be there. Jaguars are going to be wearing their prowlers. They're going to have a chance to clinch the AFC South against the Tennessee Titans in the final week of the season. It just does not get much better than that. I said last night on Club Jaguar, a lot of folks don't really realize you're in the good old days until they're gone. And I think right now is certainly the good old days for the Jaguars. And a lot of folks you have this brand new regime and you think you have your quarterback and all these things are lining up and it's going to be great forever or for a long time. You never know. So the Jaguars, from a team perspective, they need to take advantage of the opportunity they have right now in front of them. And I think that the mindset within the building is the right one, which is the next game is the most important game in franchise history every single week. Go 1-0 every single week. I do think the right mindset is in the building, so that's a good thing. Hopefully within the fan base as well, like you realize just how big of a game this is against the Titans this weekend. And again, if you can be there, I think you should be there to support this football team and to enjoy it, right? So right now, we're talking about, are the Jaguars the best team in the AFC? We're going to look at every team in the AFC, in the AFC playoff picture, and then power rank them to an extent and talk about where I kind of put the Jaguars in this group. And I'm trying to do this pretty subjectively, I say subjectively. My opinion is subjective, obviously, subjective to my own experiences. But I'm trying to do this objectively, like really rank these teams within the AFC playoff picture. So excited to get into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out GenJag.com, pick up some new Duval gear like the hat I am wearing right now. Help support the channel, look good while doing it. So AFC, we'll start at the bottom and work our way towards the top and then place the Jaguars. The Steelers, to me, and the Ravens, whoever wins the AFC North is certainly going to be the most flawed team in this AFC playoffs. But I think currently the Steelers have it. If they lose to the Ravens will have it. I don't know who's going to win that game. Usually in these big games, the Steelers beat the Ravens. That's not always the case, but that's usually what happens. Either way, I think you look at the Steelers or Ravens as one of the teams at the bottom. But the Ravens are a team, if they're the one that makes it, that I think can present some overwhelming issues for you from a matchup perspective. And they would be playing at home, at least in round one, because they would have a division title in their back pocket. So they would probably be the 4 seed. I think it is guaranteed at this point. Whoever wins the AFC North is going to be the 4 seed and host a playoff game. I don't have faith in either of those teams to go really far. Again, I just think there's too many question marks. There's a Lamar Jackson question mark with the Ravens. But if the Ravens got hot at the right time, they are a team that presents, in my opinion, more difficulties from a matchup perspective for more teams in the AFC than the Steelers. Remains to be seen who's going to make it there. That's going to be kind of TBD. The Chargers, for me, are the 6th best team in the AFC playoff picture. And really, to me, they're just missing their offensive tackles, and Justin Herbert's obviously going through it injury-wise. But they've got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. They're really well coached on both sides of the ball. I do think that they could potentially use an upgrade offensive coordinator. It's like Greg Roman always gets you to a place where you're good offense, but you want to be able to open up the passing game a little bit more and feel a little bit more confident, I think, in your modernization of your passing game. I really do. So the Chargers, though, I think that if they had their offensive tackles, they could probably compete with just about anyone because they have a really good young offensive tackle duo, Rashawn Slater and obviously Joe Alt. But they don't have those guys. And I mean, there's even injuries on the offensive tackle room beyond that. So that makes it really tough. And they're going to have to go on the road to win some games. Now, they play the Broncos this weekend, and they're going to be resting Justin Herbert and some other starters. So the Jaguars' path to the 1 seed, it goes through the Chargers beating the Broncos. I don't really see that happening. Honestly, I don't. Now, this is where it gets really difficult because I think it's clear that the AFC North champion and the Chargers are the two easiest teams to power rank at the bottom. And then you just have a group of teams that, how do you view them? It's difficult. I think I've flip-flopped on this a little bit, and I might flip-flop again before the playoffs start. But right now, I would put the Broncos at 5. I would. I think that their offense, even though it's extremely well coached and does have some talent, I think it's a little questionable. I really do. I don't know that Bo Nix is going to thrive in a big playoff environment against a really good defense, which there aren't that. I mean, there's some good defenses in the AFC, but there's also some not so great defenses in the AFC. The Broncos, if they beat the Chargers, I mean, they're going to have their home field advantage, which is going to be huge for Bo Nix and that offense. Absolutely huge. Big for the defense as well. They are a well-coached football team, but I've got them at 5. I don't like having them at 5 because I think they could just as easily be at 2 or 3. Amongst the group, not including the Jaguars, I think that they could easily be at the top. And that's how close I feel like the AFC playoff field is from 1 through 5. But I think that when you look at the Jaguars defense, the Patriots defense, and the Texans defense against the Broncos offense, I think that those are some bad matchups for the Broncos. I do. I have the Bills at 5. At 4. Bills at 4. They have a juggernaut of an offense. They have a really good offensive line, and they have an unbelievable running game with James Cook, and Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the AFC playoff field, in my opinion. They don't have great wide receivers, but they do have enough offensive weapons, including the tight ends and the running backs, in my opinion, plus Josh Allen, and a really good offensive coordinator, to just be a team that's a little bit scary to play. And right now, if the playoffs started, I think if the playoffs started right now, Adam Schefter tweeted it out, I think the Chargers are in front of the Bills. The Jaguars would host the Chargers, I believe. If that was accurate, let's see here. Yeah, the current playoff bracket, the Chargers are in 6th, the Bills are in 7th, but the Chargers face the Broncos this weekend, and the Bills face the Jets. So it's looking like probably going to end up against the Bills. All right. Because those two teams have the same record. They're both 11-5. If the Bills win and the Chargers lose, which is what's probably going to happen, the Bills will get to the 6th seed, so the Jaguars would host, assuming they beat Tennessee, as they should. The Jaguars would host the Bills. And facing Josh Allen in the playoffs, no easy task. Now, the Bills, I have them where I have them because they do not have a good defense. They do not have a good run defense. They don't have a good defense in general. And again, even though they do have good offensive weapons, they do not have like dynamic, game-changing outside receivers. They just don't. So that's where the Bills are on my list. They're kind of right there in the middle of the AFC playoff picture, but they could easily beat any of these teams. I think 5 through 1, Could easily beat anybody. I have the Texans at 3. They have the best defense in the league, I think pretty clearly. And they have talent on offense at certain spots. They have talent at quarterback. They have talent at receiver. And it's not just Nico Collins, who is great player. Best receiver in the AFC playoff picture. But they also have Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and several other tight ends and receivers that can get the job done. Can get the job done. We're going to keep rolling through my kind of AFC outlook here. But first, got to remind you all about Underdog. Playing on Underdog Fantasy, it's easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. And now with Underdog Unwrapped, you'll unwrap tons of promos all throughout the holidays. We've got boosts, gimme picks, deal reveals, and even some surprises sprinkled in. Now is the best time to get in the game. You can even make team picks on Underdogs now too. So you look at, do you want to take a look at the Jaguars and Titans? Talked to y'all about Bijan last night. That went pretty well. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Duval Daily to score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Duval Daily. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms. _DFS _.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. So we've talked about the Steelers, Chargers, Broncos, Bills, Texans. I have the Patriots among the teams not named the Jaguars at the top. Why is that? Yes, I know that they have had an easier schedule this year, but they're 13-3 for a reason. And the biggest reason is Drake May. And Drake May is a just damn good young quarterback, unbelievable talent. And they've got overall good offensive weapons, definitely not elite by any stretch of the imagination, but they've got explosive players. Like some of their rookies this year with Travion Henderson and Kyle Williams are very explosive. Stephon Diggs can still get open at a high level. They've got some tight ends you can rely on and feel good about. But ultimately, it just comes down to Drake May is a superstar. He is a superstar. And you've got that plus a very good defense. The Patriots defense is, easily top 10 in the NFL. So you combine a superstar quarterback with a really good defense, and you've got, I think, a recipe you can win with in the playoffs. And they're going to, as long as they hold serve, they're going to end up having home field throughout the divisional round. That's a pretty big deal. And we talk about how they've had an easy schedule. They have had an easy schedule, but they have beaten the Bills. The Buccaneers maybe can make the playoffs. We'll see. And they've beaten the Ravens. Those are the big teams they've beaten. So yeah, like the schedule is the schedule. It is what it is. But you also look at how they've beaten a lot of the teams that are not so great on their schedule. They've beat them down. And a lot of other teams, you look at what they do against not so great teams. Like the Broncos, they play to their competition every single week, it feels like. Except for when they played the Jaguars. They obviously couldn't handle that. But the Patriots, to me, have just shown more than any other team that we've talked about so far. And to me, who has shown the most in the AFC playoff picture? I think it's the Jags. I do. When you just look on paper, I think great coaching on both sides of the ball, great special teams. They're a juggernaut on offense right now. They have a good defense, the best run defense in football, plus a defense that can force turnovers. The turnovers, it really helps when your offense is clicking and humming. And the Jaguars' offense, they've scored just an unbelievable amount of points since their bye week. You look at, if you want to talk about like the wild card matchup, which again, if the Jaguars win, they'll be the AFC South champion. They will host a wild card round matchup. It looks like it'll probably be against the Bills. if all things go the way you would expect them to, which of course it's the NFL, you never know. But I'm feeling pretty confident it's going to be the Bills in Jacksonville in a few weeks here, a couple weeks. The Jags have been amazing at home, right? In Jacksonville, the Jaguars have been almost unbeatable. And that's not to say the Bills can't come in here and beat you, because I think that they can. We've talked about it. Josh Allen is just unbelievable. But at home, the Jaguars are 6-1. Obviously, the Rams game technically counts as a home game, but it's not. It's just not. That was in London. The Jaguars are 6-1 in Jacksonville, and their average margin of victory, their average score at home in Jacksonville is 29-16. That's the average, is 29-16. Basically doubling up your opponent is what they average at home. Their one loss was to the Seahawks, and even though the Seahawks did kind of beat them up, the defensive line versus the Jaguars offensive line, I think the Jaguars offensive line has improved a lot since then, and the Jaguars still only lost that game by 8. It was 20-12, and they easily could have won that game. They figured it out defensively after the Seahawks were coming out in a lot of 13 personnel, jumbo personnel. It took a little bit to get it figured out and to slow down JSN, but they did start slowing them down. You had Cam Little was in his little funk at that time. He missed a lot in that game. I think he left 4 points on the board at least, and then you felt like you couldn't kick field goals as well. So it was a tough game, but Seahawks, they're on the other side of the bracket, right? The Jaguars have been so good at home, and they've been damn good on the road too. Let's not take that away from them. They are 6-2 away from Jacksonville, and the losses, you go back to week 2 against the Bengals. I mean, that's like a lifetime ago. They did lose in London, so that I would count as a neutral site game, I guess. And then they lost in Houston, which was the win for the Texans that springboarded their season, and the loss for the Jaguars that also springboarded their season. Neither of those teams have lost since that week. The Jaguars are on a 7-game winning streak. The Texans are on an 8-game winning streak. And I think when you look at the Jags, they could easily go on the road and win some playoff games too. If they were somehow able to secure a top 1 or 2 seed, I would feel better. I feel better about them playing at home. I do. They've just been more dialed in at home. Winning twice on the road is tough, which is what you would probably have to do to make the Super Bowl, right? You have your wild card game at home if you win the AFC South, which they should. Probably playing the Bills. Tough game, but I would pick the Jaguars to win that game in Jacksonville. And then winning twice on the road, not easy to do. But the way the bracket is currently set up, the Jaguars would play in the second round. They would play the winner of New England and the Chargers. I think you'd much rather play the Chargers, but I think you can go to New England and win. It's a tough place to win, no doubt, against a tough quarterback, but I think the Jaguars' defense can travel. I think they're one thing that they would really like to get going. There's multiple things, but offensively, you'd like to get that run game going. I think that they can against the Bills, which is why I would feel good about that matchup, among other reasons. Trevor Lawrence just playing great football right now, and the receivers playing really damn good as well. But I think that you can control that game enough on the ground, because the Bills' defense is so porous right now, that you can kind of dictate some things a little bit and win that football game against the Bills in Jacksonville. Ultimately, are the Jags the best team in the AFC playoff field? I think they're the most complete team right now. Does that mean I think they're going to win the AFC? I would give them as good a shot as anyone, but going on the road twice is difficult. Winning twice on the road is very difficult against these really good football teams. I think they can do it, but I don't know if they're going to win the AFC. It's just such a gauntlet you have to get through. 3 straight games against really good teams. I would say right now, I'm power ranking them number 1. They've shown that they can go on the road and beat good teams. They've beaten the Broncos on the road. They've beaten the 49ers on the road. They've won games away from Jacksonville. But they've been much better at home, as we've talked about a lot on this show. I do have the Jaguars as the top team right now. I just think they're the most complete. When you look at all things that go into it, their average margin of victory lately, their ability to win at home and on the road, their offensive situation with their quarterback and their receivers, their running game has shown that it can be very good. And even in these games where it's not like super effective, they're sticking with it. And you complain about, like, it feels like they didn't have a very good run game. They still picked up 120 yards on the ground against the Colts. The defense is stifling against the run and very opportunistic against the pass. Very difficult to game plan for with their mixed fronts and post-snap coverage rotations, Anthony Campanile, and again, great special teams. So I've got the Jags as the best. We will see how it ends up playing out, but I think Jaguars fans should absolutely feel very confident about their team moving forward, but they got to take care of business in Jacksonville this weekend against the Tennessee Titans. Be there if you can be. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.